If a little green is good, more is even better. Now, back to Green is Good with John Shigarian and Mike Brady.
Welcome back to Green is Good, and we're so excited to have Barb Scala on the line with us today. Barb is not only in her past life an attorney, but now she's a lifestyle coach, and she's known for inspiring individuals and audiences alike to live balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyles with a purpose. Welcome to Green is Good, Barb Scala.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hey, listen, you're doing so many great things in radio and in television, and you've written so many books, and I want our listeners out there that have their iPad or their computer or a laptop close by, they could see so much about you at bloomwithbarb.com, BLOOM withbarb.com. Barb, you're helping people live a better life. What does that really mean, and how do you tie that into the whole green revolution and green lifestyle that we're just sort of reinventing ourselves with here in the United States?
Well, I'm helping them make choices essentially in their life, because it's all about, I'm hearing so much, people want more meaning in their life. They want life balance. They want more health. They want ultimately more happiness, which what it boils down to. And a green lifestyle and green living is something that is here. It's here to stay, and it feels good, and it creates all that health and balance in our lives, although some of us don't realize that.
That's interesting. So, Mike and I have always tried to show on this, on our show, that living a green lifestyle doesn't mean giving up all the creature comforts that we've all become accustomed to. Explain a little bit about what you mean in terms of green lifestyle and how people can find more purpose if they start just altering their habits a little bit.
Well, a green lifestyle is living with more awareness. It's having integrity for yourself and for your planet, for your neighbor, for the furry creatures out there, for everything. So that really, makes an imprint on us and how we're treating things, which starts with our own self. If we're good to ourselves and, about getting rid of some toxic things and that we eat it in our house or a good place to start, we start noticing not only personal benefits, but obviously it's a win-win for the planet as well.
Why is there so much resistance typically in the United States about making changes in our lives, though?
Well, I think there are misconceptions out there, and the ones I hear most often are, it's too expensive. It's too expensive to be green. I can't buy all these products. I can't buy organic. So there's one that I always start with. I said, if you really want to attack that expensive thing, that's just a mindset. That's our old habits. We're running off of our subconscious on that, our old belief systems. 20 years ago, yes, organics were expensive. I know that they're more costly now than the mainstream, but if you're thinking about that, start with things that you'll notice that are for free right now. Eating better and making better choices that don't cost more, maybe not so many packaged and processed foods, which buying local, being more sustainable. That's a great way to start. And regarding organic foods, I'm a big person on foods and eating. It's part of what I do. It's a part of a personal passion of mine. I do my Blooming in the Kitchen spot on my website and on my radio show. And I say, concentrate on the things that are really dirty, called the dirty dozen out there, that we want to try and buy more organic. Just do that, because there are plenty of things that aren't necessarily organic that are clean foods, and they're called the Clean 15. Onions and avocados are fine to eat, but when we're talking about strawberries especially and things like celery and peaches, we want to tend to go toward the organics with that, because that's a good way to start. And that doesn't mean you have to buy your whole grocery bill has to now come from specialty organic foods that are really too costly for the budget to do it 100%. So just do a piecemeal.
Okay, that was going to be my question, Barb. Do you think sometimes the resistance comes from people having an all or nothing mindset, that if it's too big, I can't make all these changes at once, that they're afraid to just, as you suggest, integrate just one or two small changes at a time until they become habit.
Absolutely. The mindset out there, it's cumbersome, it's inconvenient. With that goes a bit of loss of control. They feel like if they don't know it, they don't have awareness to it, I don't have control over it. I know the stuff I use, or I know how to live my life now. Why would I want to make changes? And I can't be bothered, right? And pollution is everywhere. Why one thing that I do, why should that possibly matter? Let me tell you a story about somebody, actually in my neighborhood, made a costly decision many years ago to put in some solar panels, knew it would cost more, wanted to do that, wanted to make an imprint in his neighborhood, and that really did impact the neighborhood and the community. More people took that on. Once one person does it, it's a really nice statement. If you have those resources, and if you can do that, that's a wonderful thing to do.
So it becomes a domino effect. If one person starts altering their behavior, others will follow.
Absolutely. It's like the tipping point.
That's interesting. So let's go back. Can you share with our listeners the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15? Because those are two great points that we haven't talked about recently on this show.
Sure. The Dirty Dozen, I mean, you'll hear different things out there, sure. But mostly I think you're going to hear these, that celery and peaches and celery, peaches, cherries, potatoes, those grapes, mostly the imported grapes, they're saying hold a lot of pesticides on them. Okay. Some of your greens are spinaches, kales, and lettuces. So the greens would be one, and then lettuce is another. Sweet bell peppers, blueberries, mostly domestic, and I don't know really if we import many. Apples always, we've known, have a lot of pesticide residue on them. Wow. Nectarines. So I think those should be the 12 that are the dirtiest. So if you can just concentrate on buying more organic or growing it. Certainly, if we could grow fruit trees and different things in our gardens, what a wonderful way, do a lot of container gardening if you don't have room. There's so many things to do. And there are things, I just learned that it's called fedges. Do you know what a fedge is?
No,
No.
A fedge is a food hedge. So instead of just putting ornamental kind of greenery, you're going to incorporate things of berries and maybe dwarf fruit trees that now form a hedge and shading and everything for your property, and could bear fruit and be fun to eat as well. Also, living fences. Wow. Living fences. Apples, we were saying, is a Dirty Dozen. So having apple trees, if they grow in your area, or citrus if you're down south, or olives if you're out in California, like you are, what a great living fence to use instead of common shrubbery.
Right. Wow, fedges. That's a new one on us.
I like that a lot.
That's a good one.
I do too.
How about, so the Clean 15. Now, are these Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 on your website, bloomwithbarb.com?
You know what? Somewhere in there in the articles, the Dirty Dozen are. I don't know about the Clean 15. Let me tell you about those.
Sure.
I got this off of CNN's website.
Great.
And they are onions and avocados, sweet corn, and around here, I'm in the Northeast. I'm in Connecticut, so corn is bountiful right now. Oh. Pineapples, mangoes, which was surprising to me. The tropical fruits, you think maybe they're grown in foreign countries, like a mango. Certainly they are in Hawaii, and pineapples too, but they tend not to be have little or low pesticides on them.
Right.
Sweet peas, asparagus, kiwi fruit, cabbage. They're listing sweet onions as a 15, but we already listed onions. Sweet potatoes, grapefruit, watermelon, cantaloupe, and eggplant.
Got it. Wow.
Yum. I'm hungry.
So am I. When's lunch? I mean, so those are the Clean 15. That's the Clean 15.
Yeah, that maybe you can just incorporate in your basket as you normally do. Focus on those Dirty Dozen. That's a good place to focus. And you know what I do?
What's that?
Talking about food.
What's that?
And I've been talking about this for years, and I've been doing it for years.
Okay.
Meat creates a lot of greenhouse gases.
Okay.
I guess 30% of our greenhouse gases from the food sector comes from red meat, and animal agriculture causes these greenhouse gas emissions, all right? More than the world's, what we emit from transportation or something combined, something like that, the stats are.
Sure.
I eat once a week. I have vegan day.
Okay.
Just once a week. Maybe you want to do it one meal. A plant-based meal once a week could save us not only our bodies some less of that meat and fats that we may not want to incorporate. The good fats I just did on my show and on my website about avocados. We're just talking about as part of the Clean 15. Those are good fats. We don't necessarily need all those, meat fats in our diet all the time.
Right.
So take a day off, take a meal off. It's be healthier for you, and guess what? It's going to cost less on your grocery bill. So there's that win-win-win I look for.
I love it, and it's but there's so much information out there now, Barb. Where do where should our listeners and other folks get their green information from, so as not to become overwhelmed, but to get this kind of great information you just shared with our listeners today, the Dirty Dozen, the Clean 15, and other do's and don'ts? How do you not become overwhelmed by everything that we can all be doing?
I think you can just start one step at a time.
Okay.
What imprints on you? Where do you want to focus on? What's a big thing for you? Is my passion is food, so that's what I'm talking about, and that's where I started to focus. And then I kind of cleaned up my whole act on food, reap the health benefits from it, certainly, and that now I'm moving to products and the toxins in our home. I think when we do it all at once, we feel like we're depriving ourselves. We feel like it's too much. We feel like we can't do it, and we give it all up. It's sort of like paralysis sets in.
Gotcha. That's fascinating. So the idea is not to freeze, but to just keep moving forward and to make little changes along the way.
Exactly. It's a great way to start too?
What's that?
With things that don't cost anything.
Such
like
as?
Lowering the lights or using your appliances more efficiently, loading up that dishwasher. I love it on one of the websites. It says, don't shower alone. It's more fun to shower with somebody else. But things like that. It's not going to cost you a penny, and you're going to save money on it when you tell the kids to turn the lights off and when you notice your bills going down. Apparently, 44% of our car trips taken are fewer than 2 miles.
Wow.
And if we, got on our bike or walked, I was a big proponent of taking the kids and walking them to the bus stop. I lived on the end of a cul-de-sac, and my kids the other kids would be kind of sitting there in a car with mom, and the car's going, of course.
Right.
And why not walk? And my kids, they did moan and groan about it, but as my daughter goes off to college now, she's like, I'm really glad you made us do that.
And I want to come back and do some of your great tips for both home and office. But one of the great parts of the Green Revolution is the whole trend towards more recycling. Mm-hmm. And you have a whole different part of recycling you talk about. How about people who want to recycle themselves, recycle their careers, reinvent themselves to become part of the Green Revolution as a professional? How does, what is some advice you could give to some of our listeners who are saying, what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I want to recycle my career, or because of cutbacks, I'm not going to be here that much longer, and I want to recycle my career. What advice do you have for our listeners out there that want to reinvent themselves right now?
Well, that's an area where, you hit it on the head. I've worked extensively in that, and I've worked with people one-on-one and so many companies and given so many workshops on that. It's about investing in yourself. The world is in transition right now. We feel it, we know it, economically, emotionally. We're moving to this greener world, but with it comes a lot of changes. We're seeing, problems in the Gulf. We're seeing people that have fished their whole life, and now family businesses closing down that have been in for generations. So what do they do? Do you say kind of, oh, woe is me? Well, I guess, sometimes you do, and it is a process. But to look for different opportunities, they're all around us. They're being created. If we stay in that place of, my job might not be here, start looking toward the opportunities out there that, unless you're being aware to it, you may not even see. You may not be aware of it. You may not know they even exist. And yes, it does take some change. It does, but change doesn't have to be a scary word or a four-letter word, because it's not a four-letter word. It could mean it could be wonderful things. Just like if you're on a diet, you don't want to deprive yourself of that chocolate cake. Think of the things you can eat, the wonderful foods and sweet peaches that are out now that you can eat instead of reaching for that chocolate cake. Same with your career and recycling your life around what you do. More times than not, people come to me because they say, I want more meaning in my life. My work is not cutting it for me. I need some purpose. And when we match that with our skills and our experiences, that's that win-win-win again. You're setting yourself up for success. And it may take some research, it may take some digging in, but you'll get there.
Gotcha. And what do you think? Are people's prospects to reinvent themselves good at this time in terms of the green revolution?
Absolutely. There's so many opportunities out there, aren't there?
Oh.
I mean, we're just at the tip of the iceberg with careers that can be created from greening our world, wind energy, all these things. I was talk about, all the developments in cars that are coming out. I mean, technology. It's just amazing of the plethora of opportunities there are out there. But if you hear the echo that your career or what you're doing is shutting down, or it's not bringing you that joy, why be in it? Of course, part of every job there's a bit of mundane, isn't there?
Yeah, for everybody.
I mean, it just goes, I have to do my checkbook too. That's not really hunky-dory for me. But more likely than not, I enjoy what I do, and we all should.
So let's go back to the home and office. People want to know, how can they really make small changes in both their home and office? Barb, what are some, you're great at lists. Can you give us a top 3 or 4 at home and office, how people can start really greening their lifestyle?
Yes. Something I just talked about on the news this morning. They interviewed me and wanted to know about junk mail. Oh. Junk mail. Hey. Think about it.
I love it.
If I get it, I'm trying to get rid of it, and there are websites where you can just sign up and get on it and get off of it. But you get it, you shred it. Think of the trees and the resources we do to make all that paper and printing, and then the energy you just have sorting through that stack, and then it goes into landfills or wherever it goes. This is no one's good source of time, right? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. Junk mail is a really good thing to work on. How about plastic bags?
Right.
I don't buy them. They're expensive. Talking about expensive things, I don't buy all those baggies in all the different sizes.
Okay.
I'll use different things that I can recycle.
Okay.
Like maybe I'll fold up a sandwich in a tin foil, or I'll just use a container where I actually have to just take about 2 seconds to rinse off once it comes home, and back goes the sandwich again tomorrow.
Okay.
So that's a great thing. And I go for a walk every day.
Okay.
And I tell everyone, get out in nature every day, because it's about this connection with our earth that we're missing. We're in office buildings all day, or we're going from our to-do lists and not being present with nature, not being there. If you can just take a 10-minute walk a day, or get out there at some point, walk in the park at lunch or something, you will connect with nature. And when you look down on the ground, you will see things that you can pick up. we all picked up 1, 2, or 3 things a day, wouldn't that be, even on our properties? I go with my dog, and I have to carry, a bag because we have to pick up the remains of what our dog leaves.
Yes.
I've got a bag with me. I throw some things in there. So that's a great thing to clean up our communities and around our homes.
Yeah. So okay, how about our offices? Share a couple of things that we could do in our offices, or how can we convince our boss that it's not more expensive to be green in the office?
Well, I think, recycling is a wonderful thing, getting that paper, the reams and reams of paper to recycle. And I don't think that's a real costly effort. I think it takes more of a collective community and camaraderie effort within the office. Printing, this not only creates cluttered, we're on the computer for a reason, and it's got its own carbon imprint, I'm sure, but then we go and we print things. Then we file them when we don't look at them.
Right. That's
where
true.
we could be filing just our bookmarks, and many of us do, but it is a proven fact that people are printing way too much that they even look at.
What are some of your favorite brands out there? We're down to the last 2 minutes, Barb, and today we're with Barb Scala, and she's got an amazing website, bloomwithbarb.com. We're down to the last 2 minutes. What final pearls of wisdom can you leave with our listeners, both on what you do and what you've seen others do in terms of recycling their lives if they're not happy in their career, and also getting their children and their friends and their family and their offices to be part of the green revolution?
Well, I have my Seeds for Success, which is an acronym, BLOOM, and we can't go through all of them, but the B stands for Be Positive, and it's that Be Positive attitude of raising that awareness, saying, instead of saying, this is bothersome, this is cumbersome, this can be a great thing for me, my health, my environment, my family, and you know what? It's about hanging out with Be Positive people. You hang out with people who are getting greening in their life, it's just a part of the system. You'll feel like you're a part of it, and it's be weird not to be green. The L stands for love what you do, and so make mission statements that help you instead of like, I have to stop doing this or that. Instead, make a positive statement. I want to live a greener life, and I can do it a little at a time. The first O is for organize your life, and we've been talking about that. Start with the simplest thing, the easiest thing. That's the best way to start. The second O is for own your life, and it's taking that responsibility to be green. And then M is make it happen. Make it happen, taking those action steps. Accept that green is here, and it's here to stay. And then, do what you can. Don't stress out about it. Just do what you can for you and your lifestyle, and everyone will benefit.
I love that. Do what you can. And Barb Scala, you're doing more than you can. I mean, you're amazing. You are, both educational and inspirational. I want our listeners to go and learn more about you and all the great tips that you have and all the great platforms that you reach people on bloomwithbarb.com. Barb Scala, you are truly living proof that green is good.
Green is good. Thank you so much for having me on.
This program will be available for downloading in a couple of days from our station's website, keyword podcast. Thanks for listening, and join us again next week at the same time for another edition of Green is Good.